Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we're talking about another stupid post and video from NowThis News. They're currently competing with Vox and The Root in a competition to see who could be the most anti-white and anti-American. And well, today, NowThis may have just made a move to win the whole thing. Their latest YouTube video is actually a repost of this Twitter video from back in August last year. It says, "Here's why protecting white culture is absolute idiocy." And well, I think you can already see why this is bullshit. It's not stupid to be concerned about your culture, and having the urge to protect yourself and your community is a very natural inclination. But apparently there's something about the white culture NowThis isn't a big fan of. I mean, do you really think they would be okay with saying the same thing about black or brown culture? I don't think so. If someone said protecting black culture is idiocy, they would be drawn and quartered in public and labeled a racist by everyone. Yet, for some reason, being openly against white people is still okay in 2018. It's absurd and terrible, and I really just can't stand it anymore. We're gonna go over why and break down this whole shitty NowThis video today. And more importantly, we're going to stress why, despite NowThis hating on us, it is in fact okay to be white. But first, a word from our loyal sponsor, Virtual Shield, who without their help, this show wouldn't be possible. With online security at an all-time low out there, there's never been a better time than now to sign up for one of the best VPNs in the world, Virtual Shield. VPNs are virtual private networks which funnel your internet traffic and history through Virtual Shield's secure servers. This is a great way to not only keep your browsing history private and secure, it also allows users to access their favorite content securely and without restrictions. Do you ever see those nasty pop-ups on YouTube blocking videos and saying you're in the wrong country to view a certain thing? With Virtual Shield, you can easily change your internet's region in order to access all the media you want. It's pretty awesome. I personally enjoy the product and use it every day. And now there's even an added bonus for signing up this July. This month, in honor of America and the 4th of July coming up, happy Independence Day by the way, well, to celebrate, Virtual Shield is offering a new exclusive special price. For only $99, you can enjoy 3 years of online security from the world's easiest, fastest, and most trusted virtual private network, Virtual Shield. This amazing deal and offer works out to less than $3 per month for your security. And I say, your internet security and your family's peace of mind is certainly worth that. Sign up with Virtual Shield today. Links are below in the description. And tell them No Bullshit sent you. Thanks for your time, and now back to the show. Let's talk about NowThis again and their terrible video. It was first titled, "Here's why protecting white culture is absolute idiocy" on Twitter. And then NowThis had the balls to repost the video on YouTube just last week under the name "White People Will Always Be Fine, Op-Ed NowThis." And I think we can already see a lot from this alone. First they're saying, oh no, it's stupid to protect white culture. And then they dial it back a little bit and are just like, white people will be fine, don't worry. And this title changing and backpedaling is all too common with these radical anti-white leftists. Just last week, the same thing happened on The Root video I covered. As I was in the middle of editing it, The Root changed the title of their video from "America Home of the Baby Prisons" to a more generic PC title about immigration and child separation. And I would say from this title changing stuff alone, we can already see the growing open distaste for white people. But fortunately, they're finally getting some pushback on that too. You see, they go with these extreme anti-white, anti-American titles first, because they're becoming more emboldened and over the top, and some of them have Trump derangement syndrome too. So make no mistake, channels like NowThis and The Root hate America, and they hate white people too. That's why we have to review and refute them every chance we can get. So with all that said, let's go ahead and check out the NowThis video and get started with it.
White people will be fine. Will always be fine. A lot of the people protesting at these blatantly white supremacist events say that they are protecting white culture, that they're not against any race, they're just pro-white. And I'm telling you, as a damn white person, that being pro-white is abjectly absurd.
I don't think being pro-white is necessarily absurd, I have to say. Even a white supremacist position isn't necessarily always bad or evil. Sure, it's a bit racist at its core, but saying white people are the best doesn't hurt anyone either. Just like if a black person thought their race was the best, or even if Muslims or Jews preferred their group and their religion over others. There's nothing certain and absolutely bad about having an in-group preference. In fact, it's completely natural and part of our evolutionary defense system. With that said, being a supremacist is only bad when you start to act out on it and openly hate on or even attack other groups. But NowThis and other leftists, they seem to operate under the assumption that supposed white supremacists are always evil asshole Nazis, while at the same time they are totally fine with open black supremacists, like the ones in the dying Black Lives Matter movement. In fact, leftists will go so far in the other direction, they are openly okay with shitting on white people even. Whites can't like their own race, or they'll get vilified for it, and you're openly allowed to shit on white people too, according to the radical libtards like the the ones at NowThis. But we all know that's bullshit. And that brings me to the elephant in the room here. This guy claims to be one of the white people, but I'm not sure I'm buying it. I'm getting a real eerie My Fellow Americans vibe from this guy. Like he's only pretending to be white so he can get away with shitting on whites. Let's be real. With those Woody Allen glasses and that long schnoz, this guy is likely all or part kosher. And there's nothing wrong with that either, but seeing another yarmulke wearing person shitting on white people and calling for the end of our race, well, seeing that, I'm really starting to get flashbacks to Anthony Bourdain, who also said he wanted the end of the white race multiple times.
That in, I don't know, 70, 80 years, there will be no white people anymore and only cappuccino colored people.
Look, that's the only way. This is the only solution. It's my way of thinking. It's our only hope. Is our way out of this.
And Bourdain, of course, was the famous celebrity chef who hoped for the end of white people openly on his show frequently. But I'm pretty sure the Jewish-born Bourdain and this other Jewish-looking guy on NowThis, I'm sure they wouldn't appreciate it if we said something like that about Israel. If we said similar things like protecting the Jewish culture is idiocy, we would get slammed as anti-Semitic and get laughed out of the room. If we said, hey, don't worry, Jewish people will always be fine. NowThis and Anthony Bourdain and his company, CNN, they would all throw a big fit. In fact, I'm probably going to be called anti-Semitic for even suggesting this in the comments. That's how absurd this huge and gaping double standard has become. Attacking whites and hoping for the end of our race and culture is fine, but if you even mention someone is Jewish or black or brown, you're gonna get flogged for it.
You will not replace us! White culture is so ingrained in society, it doesn't need to be protected. No one's coming for white culture, and white culture is not at risk. White culture is gonna be fine. King of Queens is syndicated on like 8 channels.
Up in here! Up in here!
Nice joke, but King of Queens is hardly a staple of white culture. It's good for a laugh or two now and then, but I know they're really just bringing it up here to try and make fun of whites and act like we don't have any really good shows. But we clearly do. How about this for white TV shows? Friends, Happy Days, MASH, Westworld, Game of Thrones, The Sopranos, Breaking Bad, The Office, Supernatural, Sherlock, Frasier, Cheers. I could go all day. And then there's this absurd way NowThis is calling it white culture in general, which yeah, I don't even know what white culture would be exactly. There are many white cultures. There's Europeans, which have the French, English, and Germans, all being very distinct and different white cultures. And there's even the vast and varied country of Russia, which is also mostly white and has many cultures within it. Then of course there's the Americans, the Canadians, Australians, and so on. New Zealand, all kinds of different white cultures. So saying it as white culture and lumping it all together kind of sounds stupid. It's like trying to say all black culture or brown culture is the same, or something similar. And I think what NowThis is trying to do here is generalize white culture into a bigger group, so it doesn't look like it's dwindling as much as it really is, which it is. If you look at the numbers in the biggest white regions like Europe and America, well, the percentage of whites goes down every year, while at the same time more immigrants, migrants, and illegals are coming in every day. Let's not forget, the United States was once over 80% white just about 50 years ago, and now we've gone all the way down to 62% white. The numbers don't lie, folks. But even so, I do agree with this guy in a way too. I do think the white culture will survive. I know it will, in fact, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't worry about it now and make sure. If we hadn't done things like electing President Trump and help him save this country, the white culture would be even worse off for it, even worse than before. And if we listened to people like this guy on NowThis and just gave up and let mass immigration and the replacement of white people happen, then yeah, actually, we could lose the whole culture in another 10 or 20 years. But thankfully, we're on the right track now. But NowThis is trying to get us to ignore the problem again. And frankly, I'm not having it.
White supremacists have a slogan: we must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children. White people's existence doesn't need to be secured. It's fine. White children are gonna be fine.
Just because you say that doesn't make it true. I'm not going to believe some shiesty reporter from NowThis when it comes to my country and my people. And if this is the best justification you could come up with, well, you're going to lose this battle, buddy. All this dude is saying is, it will be fine, don't worry, it will be fine, over and over again. That's not a reason or rationale, and he has no support for why white people will be fine at all. You're not giving us any sort of proof or explanation. You're just saying white people will be fine over and over again. Is this guy really fucking serious right now? I mean, I've already went over a number of great reasons white people should be worried. Hell, the fact that NowThis made a video like this is pretty worrying itself. And to put this out there with no meat on its bones is rather bold and stupid of them, I must say. I guess it's up to you guys and other white people to decide here. Do you want to believe this NowThis guy who says white people will be fine repeatedly with no explanation? Or do you want to believe cold hard facts like shrinking numbers of white people in America and Europe, while seeing increases of black and browns, some of which are radical, out of the country Muslim extremists, like the ones ruling over London and Paris right now? Hell, Paris can't even play the World Cup games at the Eiffel Tower this year because they're so afraid their new, brown, welfare leeches might come out and start riots if their team loses. But you know what? Now this says fuck France and fuck Paris and the Eiffel Tower. White culture's gonna be fine, according to them. They say we should just give up and let everyone else take over and destroy our countries. But I say we shouldn't.
White children don't have to worry about being unfairly profiled and shot by police. White children don't have to worry about being banned from the greatest melting pot nation on earth. White children don't have to worry about being called terrorists. And the Trump administration supports these people.
Yeah, Trump supports white people if that's what you mean. I know you want to defame and dehumanize us and call our acts of self-preservation white supremacy, but the truth is, white people are under attack. In the media, in the news, and on YouTube with videos like this, the very one we're reviewing now. They're all pushing a starkly anti-white, pro-black and brown narrative. And they've gotten so extreme, when they see any pushback from whites, it's branded as evil white supremacy. We're called Nazis for doing the same thing their groups do, and I'm sick of it. As for what white people have to worry about, well, first he shows the pic of some random black kid who I assume was shot by the police, and I'm also going to assume those cops shot him for a reason. It's unfortunate, but I'm sure he did something wrong. I know the media likes to lie about things like this too, but all these supposedly racist cop shootings we've heard over the years, they've all had perfectly reasonable explanations, which usually have to do with the black kid reaching for a gun or something, or running from the cops. But now this, of course, are stark leftists, and they like to pretend black people are always innocent, and cops are always racist, when they're not.
The New York Times reports Attorney General Jeff Sessions is dedicating resources for civil rights to protecting white people from being discriminated in college admissions. An attack on affirmative action, as it was held up by the Supreme Court when Abigail Fisher's grades weren't good enough to get into college, and she blamed it on people of color.
Well, since this guy doesn't like to explain things, I guess I'm gonna have to do the heavy lifting here. You see, now this guy, you can't just say things in an annoyed voice and expect people to agree with you. I think this leftist has gotten so caught up in his rhetoric, he doesn't even know how to talk to and explain things to normal people anymore. This is another reason why the left keeps losing, by the way. They're making these big, gross, huge, anti-white assumptions and expecting everyone to go along with their crazy. And well, needless to say, we're not into it anymore. And if Jeff Sessions wants to make colleges more fair for white people, then I say, by all means, please, go ahead. It's pretty clear what they're talking about here too. It's affirmative action and how it's related to college admissions. Basically, a redheaded white girl like this one in the picture, she will have to score and get grades significantly higher than a minority in order to get into the same school. This is clearly unfair to whites, but according to the NowThis guy, that's okay. That's encouraged even. In fact, when people try and make things better and fairer for whites, this loser freaks out and starts losing his shit and saying that's racist. And that really says all you need to know about him.
And I declare today for the world to hear that the West will never, ever be broken. Our values will prevail. Our people will thrive. And our civilization will triumph.
Sounds like a fantastic, rousing, pro-American speech. I wish I could vote for Trump again, but I guess I'll have to wait until 2020 though. But let's see why the NowThis guy thinks protecting Americans is wrong in the first place.
Now just think, what do people from the West look like? What is our civilization? The white supremacist response to that is, what's wrong with being proud of my race and wanting to protect it? There's nothing to protect it from. It's just about exerting your dominance and preventing a more equitable world.
There's plenty to protect the West from, guy. What the fuck is he even talking about? Have you ever heard of ISIS? Or what about communism or mass migration? If we keep letting in uneducated, non-English speaking illegal immigrants, eventually they're gonna outnumber us and totally change this country over. NowThis would like that though, because, of course, they hate white people. That's why they're trying to pretend there's nothing threatening us and our way of life. There is, and that's why we're having many problems at our southern border every day.
White supremacists are just unremarkable people who want to cling on to the only thing they have that grants them power, their whiteness. Being white and the privilege that comes from that is all they have to get ahead, because they're losers, made winners by privilege. Maybe that's why they identify with losers so much. Losers like the Confederacy and Nazi Germany.
Well, I can't argue against the fact that the Confederacy and the Nazis lost their respective wars and relevance, but I don't think real white Americans identify with that culture very much at all. Sure, maybe there's a few guys in the South who still rock a Confederate flag on their truck or on a t-shirt, but there's virtually no one who are rocking big Nazi signs or swastikas or whatever. Like maybe some small handful of people in the whole country, but these are outliers who don't represent represent white America at all. Not even close. White Americans aren't losers either. We're big winners, in fact. Speaking of wars, I mean, white Americans have won many. We won the Revolutionary War against the British, and the Spanish-American War, and 2 world wars. Hell, we even won the more recent Cold War against Russia. That's what I identify with, now this dude. We Americans identify with winning, and that's why our country is the best, and that's why everyone wants to sneak across the border to live here. And now that free, unlimited immigration is coming to an end under Trump, thank God, desperate liberals are coming out with videos like Now This to try and refute it and tear it down with propaganda. They're losing miserably though, thankfully, but it is still a bit fun to bat them down and refute all their points, I must say.
When someone's accused of being racist, they're always like, I have tons of black friends. Well, talk to those black friends. Hear them out. Understand what they're living with. Listen to a perspective outside your own from the people who live it. There are not many sides to this issue. There's 2, tolerance and hate. Which side are you on?
Only the Sith deal in absolutes. Them and George Bush, of course.
Either you're with us, either you love freedom and with nations which embrace freedom, or you're with the enemy.
But really, is anyone actually dumb enough to believe this Now This video is on the side of tolerance? They're obviously on the side of hate. This whole video of theirs is hating on white people. Can't you see? Sure, they frame it up as, you don't have to worry about white culture, it will always be fine, but at the same time, they're saying anyone who worries about whites is a supremacist, a KKK Nazi redneck asshole. If Now This were really on the side of tolerance, they would tolerate white people and their rights to exist and protect their own space. But instead, we're just seeing more anti-white, pro-black and brown propaganda. In the end though, Now This is right in a way too. White people will always be fine, but they won't be if we start listening to Now This, ironically. If we continue to lay over and take shit from people like this, white Americans will cease to be in a few short decades. But now that we're red-pilled and now that we're awake and we can see the liberal hypocrisy, thankfully, we still stand a fighting chance. We will win over the world again too, in our lifetime. The United States will be an undeniable superpower and influencer for a long time to come too. But first, we gotta say no to losers like Now This. What do you guys think? Will white people always be fine? Why do leftists like Now This always go after us anyway? And what do you think the real motives of this guy in the video with the glasses are? Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. See y'all next time.